Hola everyone, JB Throws here back with another video. If you remember, recently I made a video ranking every single roller coaster at Six Flags Over Texas. The reason why I did this is because I've ridden every single ride in the park, and after going so many times, I think I could create an accurate list, since I remember most of the experiences. But after I made that video, it got me thinking, well, why stop at coasters? Six Flags Over Texas has a great collection of flat rides, and it really isn't talked about that much. Honestly, some of these flat rides could even beat the other flat rides at bigger theme parks. And like I said, I've ridden every ride in the park more than once, so I remember all of their experiences. And since it's through a week, I decided to make a ranking of my favorite flat rides in the park. Now of course, unlike the roller coasters ranking, I can't rank every flat ride because there's so many. But I can cut it down into a top 10 list, and that's exactly what I did. After some thinking, I ranked the top 10 best flat rides in Six Flags Over Texas. And in today's video, I'll be showing them, while also explaining why they got that rank. Before I start the video though, I would like to say, if you like my content and videos, be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell to know when new videos come out on my channel. Thrill Week is coming to an end with only one video left, and you won't want to miss this one. Plus, I got lots of great content in store for you, and some very exciting new videos, so stay tuned. Also, thank you to all of you who already subscribed to my channel, it really means a lot. Anyways, let's get into today's video. While Six Flags Over Texas has so many great flat rides, because there's a lot, I couldn't fit them into one video, so I cut them down into a top 10, meaning not all the flat rides got into the list. So if you don't see a flat ride on here, it probably didn't make the top 10 list. I will be giving honorable mentions though. Also, small disclaimer, while it is a top 10 best flat rides in the park list, I also included water attractions, dark rides, walkthroughs, and upcharges, even though some of them are not technically flat rides. It's more like top 10 non-coasters at Six Flags Over Texas. But with that out of the way, let's get into the honorable mentions. On the honorable mentions list, we have Justice League Battle for Metropolis, Sidewinder, the Six Flags in Texas Railroad, and Roaring Rapids. All of these are really great attractions, but sadly they couldn't make the top 10 list. Although, they are definitely worth mentioning and you should definitely ride them whenever you go to the park. Anyways, let's get into the top 10 best flat rides at Six Flags Over Texas. Starting with number 10. In the 10th spot, we have Rodeo. Rodeo is a Husk breakdance attraction, and while the model itself is very standard and is a clone, what makes it stand out is the level of theming. For a small little flat ride in a park, especially Six Flags, I'm surprised at the level of theming that this attraction has. First off, while waiting in the queue, it looks like a livestock corral, like something you'll see at the stockyards in Fort Worth, Texas. And with the poster saying rodeo, cowboy boots, hats, and saddles, it really does enforce the western theme, and gives me some Fort Worth vibes. Plus, another nice detail is the fake building behind Rodeo. As for why it's there, on the other side there's actually a stage. And to fix the building from feeling out of place near Rodeo, they turned the side facing Rodeo into a facade of a western hotel. Overall, adding to the setting of the area, and really sells the rodeo theme. Also, while riding, you'll feel like you're in an actual rodeo, especially when you see all the bulls fly past you. The one downside from this attraction is the employees control the ride entirely, and sometimes they take advantage of this and make the ride experience very short. Like one time, I rode Rodeo for only 30 seconds, all because the employee felt lazy. And because the ride experience is not constant, that's why this flat ride isn't higher on the list. But overall, I think it's in a great spot. Anyways, let's move on to number 9. At number 9, we have El Sombrero. El Sombrero is a chance trapping attraction, and it's one of the oldest operating attractions in Six Flags Over Texas. Once again, while the ride is very simple, it's the theming that makes this ride great. First of all, the ride itself looks very unique. It resembles a Mexican sombrero. Plus, the ride itself is also unique. Instead of going forward like traditional chance trapins, El Sombrero goes backwards, which adds to the experience. Honestly, I think it's the most recognizable flat ride in the entire world. As long as you've been to Over Texas and you've seen this ride, you'll always remember it forever. Even if you get its name wrong, you'll still remember it. It's really hard to forget such a great attraction. And even if the flat ride itself is very simple, it's still a great family attraction, its theming is great, and honestly, I think if El Sombrero didn't exist, the Mexico section would feel very weak. This one ride alone carries the area of the park, and that's why it deserves to be in the top 10. Number 8. At number 8, we have yet another flat ride from the Mexico section of the park, this time being El Aserradero. El Aserradero is an aerial log flume attraction, and while it's technically a water attraction and not a flat ride, again, this list is basically just full of non-coasters. Also, one thing that makes El Aserradero special is that it was the world's first log flume attraction. It was a never before been seen attraction, and without this one ride, log flumes probably would have never caught on. And while the history alone makes this ride great, the experience itself is also great. Even with Flume 1, the original flume from El Aserradero being abandoned, Flume 2 is being a really good substitute, and still makes the ride great. One thing I really enjoy about this attraction is the fact that you don't have to worry about getting too soaked. Sure, there's water, but you only get sprinkled with water. You'll never get hit by a giant wave of water like Roaring Rapids. And because you don't get too wet, sometimes the ride operates in winter, which is also a bonus. Plus, honestly, the ride's kind of calming, and is a great ride to pass the time, or allow the food in your stomach to go down before going into a big coaster again. But don't let its gentleness fool you, since the logs themselves don't have seatbelts, and only have a hand railing on the sides. When you reach the last drop to go into the finale, it makes the drop feel steep or kind of sketchy in a way, adding some final bit of thrill at the end, which is really great. Plus, with Flume 1 also opening this year, El Aserradero will go back to having 2 flumes again, making the ride even better. So overall, it really does deserve to be in the top 10, and I highly recommend riding this attraction. At number 7, we have the Riddler Revenge. The Riddler Revenge is a Zamperla giant discovery, and while it's cloned just as much as Larson loops throughout the Six Flags chain because of how great the ride really is, the ride is considered a pendulum attraction because of how it swings around like a pendulum. And while you're swinging, the seats also rotate, so you get 360-degree views of the park. The ride also swings you at 68 miles per hour, while reaching a top height of 147 feet, which is pretty tall if you ask me. The only downside about this attraction is, since the Riddler Revenge was the first giant discovery to come to a Six Flags park, it's a smaller model. And now other Six Flags parks, like Magic Mountain and Fiesta Texas, have Giga Discoveries, which is way bigger. And I really wish Riddler Revenge was a Giga Discovery. Another downside about this attraction is the theming. While waiting in line, there's next to no theming, other than some signs that show some riddles, which isn't impressive. Sure, it's a standard flat ride, but at least it deserves some theming. Fiesta Texas did a really good job with their Giga Discovery, adding a whole funhouse in it, so I really wish Riddler had something like that. Although, it gets some points for its light package. It's really great to see Riddler have its lights on during the night. It's just very satisfying, and it looks amazing. But even without the theming, the ride itself is still really great. It's not like this ride doesn't have any thrill. This attraction is all about the thrill. The fast swinging, the minor airtime you get when you reach the top, all of it is just pure thrill, and it's awesome. So that's why this ride makes the top 10 list, and why it deserves number 7. If you haven't rode this ride yet, you should definitely check it out. Anyways, let's move on to number 6. At number 6, we have the Oil Derrick, and yes, I'm not kidding. The Oil Derrick is an observation tower at Six Flags Over Texas, which stands at a max height of 300 feet. It's also one of the park's icons, and is considered a gentle ride. So if it's a gentle ride, how did it pass the Riddler Revenge? Well, it's not as gentle as it seems. In fact, it could be considered nerve-wracking. First of all, when you reach the top, it has no windows, so you're pretty much exposed to the elements and you can feel the wind when you're up there. Also, when you're going up the elevator, it has no windows other than the doors, but the walls have some holes that allow wind to go through you, making the elevator sway a little bit as you go up. If this isn't terrifying enough already, when you reach the top, the tower sways even more, making it feel very sketchy, especially since the only thing that's holding you from falling is a small little chain fence. I've seen fans of extreme rides, coaster enthusiasts, and people who love Riddler Revenge get intimidated by this attraction. From far away, it looks just like an observation tower, but it's truly an experience. And what makes the tower even better is that you get to see an entire view of the DFW area, which includes seeing a 360-degree view of Six Flags Over Texas, and you can even see a little bit of Dallas and Fort Worth, which is amazing, and it's perfect to take videos and pictures up there. So in result, this attraction really deserves to be number 6. It's often overlooked, and is considered a ride to skip, but you should definitely not skip the Oil Derrick. Anyways, let's move on to number 5. In 5th place for the top 5 best flat rides at Six Flags Over Texas, we have a rather new addition, which is Casa Magnetica. Casa Magnetica is this fun walkthrough attraction where you would go into this house that's basically tilted on its side. It's a super weird experience, and up is down and down is up. It's not just a slogan, it's a fact. While inside Casa Magnetica, you'll see some weird occurrences, like water traveling upwards, some weird contraptions, bottles going up instead of down when it's assigned to table, and feeling like you're gonna fall down. And yes, I know it sounds weird, and I can't really explain it that well, but basically, you'll just have to experience it yourself. And for a new attraction to reach top 5 so quickly, you'll know it's good. It's super fun, it's super unique, and it doesn't even feel like it's from a Six Flags park. Yet, you can only find it at Six Flags Over Texas. So next time you go to this park, don't miss out on this attraction. Anyways, let's move on to number 4. In 4th place for the top 5 best flat rides at Six Flags Over Texas, we have an upcharge attraction by the name of Dive Bomber Alley. Dive Bomber Alley is a standard sky coaster attraction, and it's usually an upcharge at almost every single theme park. But the reason why it's so high up on the list is because it's actually good. Back then, I didn't like this attraction because I thought it was a way to get scammed and lose money for a very bland attraction that's not worth it. But after getting to experience this for the first time, it's actually amazing. First of all, it's actually really intimidating. The moment you go up, it's just extremely scary since you're facing the ground, worried that the little wire could eventually let go at any moment. But then it gets worse once you reach the top. Once you're up there, it's all about waiting to drop down. And if you're the one that has to pull a ripcord, that's a lot of responsibility, and sometimes you might even hesitate to pull it at first. Then once you let go, you're diving head first, 147 feet straight down. It's an insane experience, and it's amazing. Then once the scariest part is over, it gets even better. The swings are so intense, you actually get airtime at the top. And it's a weird type of airtime, especially since you're laying down. I can only describe it as flying. Then once it's done, you'll be thinking, how in the world did I ride this? And can I ride it again? It now makes sense why so many theme parks have this type of attraction, and why they charge extra for people to ride it. It's an elite experience, and the creators of this flat ride did a really great job. So next time you're at Six Flags Over Texas, and you have some sort of discount, maybe some membership offer, or even have the money to ride this attraction, definitely get tickets to ride it, because it's amazing. Number 3. Taking the bronze medal, we have Texas Skyscreamer. Texas Skyscreamer is a record-breaking star flyer that stands at a height of 400 feet. Yep, 400. The ride opened in the year 2013, and it was truly shocking, especially since it came to Six Flags Over Texas, the park that's usually forgotten. Sure, the record did get taken by a different star flyer in Orlando, Florida that stands at a height of 500 feet, but this ride is still amazing nevertheless. The fact that a ride could take someone so high up in the air just by dangling on chains is an engineering feat, plus the view from the top is absolutely amazing. You can see the entire DFW area, and the spinning factor adds some more thrill, especially on windy days. Despite its large size though, it's relatively gentle. It's more of a relaxing sightseeing attraction. The only truly thrilling part is the height. And yet, many people are afraid of this attraction, but it's understandable since many people are terrified of heights. But let me tell you, this ride is a lot of fun. It's relaxing, thrilling, and it's the best way to see the entire area of DFW. I'm really glad that Six Flags Over Texas got Texas Skyscreamer, and it truly adds a whole new meaning to everything's bigger in Texas. Number 2. Taking the silver medal, we have Superman Tower of Power. Superman Tower of Power is an SNS combo tower, fairly common in theme parks around the world. But the thing that made this ride special was that it was the world's tallest combo tower, until of course the record was taken again, just like Texas Skyscreamer. While some may say this is the weakest of all the combo towers, I have to disagree. There's no way that this ride's weak. Sure, there's some days some of the towers run slow, but there's always at least one tower that's extreme, which is usually the yellow or the blue one. The launches are always forceful, the airtime is amazing, and the part where the ride slows down right before you drop always gets me, even when I expect it. And even if the ride doesn't have any theming and it's a standard DC theme, in this case it doesn't matter because the fun of this ride is always constant. Every time I ride it, I have fun. It's always worth the wait. My friends always love it, my siblings love it, my family members love it. It's the one ride almost everyone likes. And like Texas Skyscreamer, you get to see great views of the park, only for a split second before you drop all the way down. But anyways, Superman Tower Power is a great ride, and it definitely deserves to be in the top 3, in my opinion of course. And I highly recommend riding it. And finally, the best flat ride at Six Flags Over Texas is Harley Quinn Spinsanity. Yup, this ride is number 1. Now before you get triggered, hear me out. Harley Quinn Spinsanity is an ABC tour building attraction, one of 2 that came to the Six Flags chain. It looks really weird, it seems like a vomiting machine, but it's really not. It's all about fun. It's considered a gyroscopic thrill ride, since it's like a gyroscope, and it's more like something you'll see in NASA. But why is this ride number 1? Well, first of all, its amount of hang time is amazing. There's parts where the gondola will just hang upside down for a few seconds while spinning 360 degrees. It's a super weird experience, and I love it. The feeling of not knowing where you're going or where you're at is just super fun. And personally, this ride is super underrated. Sure, it has its technical malfunctions, and it looks too sketchy to ride, but it's really not that bad. The sad part is, not that many people want to ride this ride. Every time I ride it, the queue is always empty, and it's super sad. Even on max capacity days, it's still empty. There has been rumors that this ride will get taken out, and I really hope not. I even asked some employees in the park, and they agree with me, it's very underrated. Its capacity is great, its thrill factor 10 out of 10, and I really wish they made more of these flat rides. And the great thing about it is it doesn't make you sick. Unlike Catwoman Trash, Harley Quinn spins at a paced rate, allowing riders to catch their breath and not feel sick to the stomach. It's basically like slow thrill. It's super extreme at a controlled rate, and it's why I like it. So in result, Harley Quinn Spinsanity makes my number 1. And if you haven't rode it, I definitely recommend that you ride it. Don't let its craziness intimidate you. It's truly not that bad. And anyways, that's my top 10 best flat rides at Six Flags Over Texas. Do you agree with my list or disagree strongly? Comment down below. Anyways, thank you for watching. This is JB Thrills signing out.